Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
I forgot to turn my camera on. Sorry about that. A little, confusing here this evening. I have a few thoughts today, of course, as one would, considering what we just experienced this week. I just wanted to add in another camera here because I have another sudden visitor into my domain, if you will. And if I could, there it is. I'm just trying to, okay. Yeah, there we go. I don't know what's going on with there we go. I'm going to add this camera in so you all can get a little gander at Lola, who's sitting right beside me. Yes. Good girl, Lola. Let me just do that, and we'll switch them up. So, she's really the focus of the show, not me. Doesn't everybody love Lola? Jeez, look at this beautiful girl. Look at this gorgeous little girl. There's my beautiful puppy dog. The camera's got some sort of weird sync issue with the light. I have to hold my hand over the light so we can actually see her. Okay, we'll go back to normal, and I'm gonna turn her camera off here, and we'll actually focus on some of the things I thought we should talk about today. So as you know, as many of you know, I think all of you should know by now, we did a show the other day about the budget. Whoops, I meant to turn that camera off. There we go. Did a show the other day about the budget. And of course, as one would expect, Pierre Poilievre lost his ever-loving mind, which, that's what he was going to do. It didn't matter if the budget gave him everything he wanted. He would still find a way to find fault with it because it wasn't of his creation. Not that he could actually create a budget, because I don't think he has the economic acumen, let alone brain power, to actually form a budget. And something tells me that because he is such a narcissist, he would insist that he would have to do it for the party because only he knows what's best for all of us. A man who has never lived in the private sector or worked in the private sector as an adult. Ever. I am having a pint of Guinness because it is a Guinness day. It is pouring rain outside, for those of you who might not be aware. In Canada's capital, the weather today has been a little bit extra. I don't know how else to put it. It's not been nice today. No, not been nice today. And oops, I was gonna put up the weather cam, but it seems to have fallen, so we can't really see too much right now. I'll fix that up later. I don't know what happened there. I must have bumped it or something. Anyway, if you were witnessing what transpired over the course of the last couple of days here in Canada's capital, which is where Parliament, of course, sits, if you didn't know that. I got to read this story to you. This is from the Toronto Star. And from who wrote it? It's Reza Patel, Tonda McCharles, and Mark Ramsey from the Ottawa Bureau. Ottawa Bureau Chief is Tonda McCharles, Mark Ramsey, and Reza Patel. Reza Patel. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I hope I didn't screw it up. From the Ottawa Bureau. Mark Carney's minority Liberals survived a second budget-related confidence vote on Friday, the day after easily defeating an earlier Conservative attempt to reject the budget as the Pierre Poilievre-led party grappled with another looming caucus departure from their ranks. The House of Commons voted 307 to 30 to defeat a Bloc Québécois motion that called on MPs to reject a Liberal budget the Separatist Party says will, in quotation, hurt Quebec because it fails to increase federal health transfers to provinces, raise pension benefits for seniors aged 65 to 75, to, in quotes, repay the $814 million Quebecers are owed after scrapping the consumer carbon price, and to propose more robust climate change measures. Okay, we'll attack that in a moment. A third definitive test for the Liberal government will come on November 17th, when the Commons will vote on the overall motion to support the budget. Yet the budget votes have turned into a defining political moment for the Poilievre Conservatives, one which suggests the leader's grip on his caucus is more fragile than previously believed. There's so many jokes right there. I'm not going to address them, but there's like 4 jokes in there. There's so many good jokes in there. I'm not going to address them. If Mr. Beaver was here, we'd probably be addressing them. Anyway, a source with knowledge of caucus dynamics told the Toronto Star that 10 to 15 MPs within that caucus are very frustrated with Poilievre's leadership, but the source was unsure whether any will step up to confront him or cross the floor. A second source, who also has knowledge of the internal strains, said it's unlikely more will cross, but others may simply leave, as Matt Genereux has chosen to do. The Stars agreed not to identify the sources who fear reprisals for discussing internal Conservative matters. Poilievre already lost one MP, Chris D'Entremont, who crossed the floor Tuesday to join the Liberals and support the budget, before dramatic news broke of a second MP's intention to leave. The Star revealed Genereux, that second MP, met with Prime Minister Mark Carney and senior political aides on Tuesday before he dropped his bombshell resignation statement on Thursday as the vote was getting underway on the budget. The Edmonton MP abstained from the vote on the Conservative motion to reject the budget. He confirmed at the Star late Thursday that he is remaining in the Conservative caucus, as the Conservative leader claimed. Genereux said he was not determined his departure date. He has not determined his departure date. Poilievre said it would be in the spring, with Tories emphasizing Genereux was leaving for family reasons. Yeah. Genereux said in a statement he was not coerced into staying. But he did not respond to the Star's reporting on his meeting with the Prime Minister or to subsequent requests for comment. The Mood in Caucus said one source is nervous and defeated, in quotation, after losing D'Entremont and seeing the leader fail to propose the main amendment to the budget, as the Star reported. It's amateur hour, in quotes, said the source. Conservative staffers are loitering around parliamentary doors to record any MP's interviews with media or meetings with Liberals. Conservative House Leader Andrew Scheer claims that Carney is trying to get himself a majority. Sources told the Star that Genereux was very close to joining the Liberal ranks this week. Indeed, Genereux's meeting with Carney was also attended by Carney's senior aides, Braden Calley and Tom Pitfield, the Star can report. Later, following their meeting, Genereux was seen leaving the Parliament Hill office of Liberal MP Talib Noor Mohammed, I hope I said that correctly, with Calley and the BC Liberal MP. On the Hill on Friday, Scheer accused Carney of, in quotes, trying to cobble together a majority through undemocratic means with backroom deals and pressure tactics. All of this is an attempt to distract from Mark Carney's first budget, a terrible budget that is being almost universally panned, Scheer said. I don't know what's with the confetti, folks. I have no idea. Scheer told reporters prior to Friday's vote that Jean had long planned his political exit and that he was forced to make his decision earlier because of these liberal pressure tactics, referring to reports that Carney is seeking 2 more floor crossers to secure a majority. Scheer did not answer questions about why Jean would be permitted to stay in Poilievre's caucus after meeting with Liberal officials. You stop 100 people in any main street in this country. This by the way, this is a quote, a direct quote. You stop 100 people in any main street in this country. They are uninterested in palace intrigue. They're uninterested in parliamentary press gala reporting on Liberal source rumors. They are interested in facts that will affect their life, said Scheer, who filled Poilievre's role in the Commons this summer as the leader sought a new seat following his election loss. Well, isn't that special? Now, further to that, this is I have to talk about this. This is what's today's date? So this is from 2 days ago. This is from the 5th. Canada's chaotic minority parliament is at its critical juncture as Mark Carney's Liberals scramble to lure more opposition floor crossers to secure support for the budget's passage. Now, I'm not going to read this whole thing to you because we've already, gone through it. But I think here's the part that's interesting. Carney's Liberals, which now have 170 MPs, are still too shy of an outright majority in the 343-seat House of Commons. They need more opposition MPs to vote with them or to abstain from voting in order to survive the looming budget votes. Hours later, the Conservative leader stood in the House of Commons and laid out his objections to the government's fiscal blueprint, as all official opposition leaders traditionally do. He delivered more than a 25-minute speech on the first day of debate on the budget, castigating the Liberal plan for $141 billion in new spending over 5 years, and answered a few MP questions. But then he failed to present the party's desired changes via an amendment, an oversight the Liberal government said is absolutely unprecedented. The backrooms of Parliament quickly went into overdrive. In quotations, "This is a historic fuck-up," said one Liberal government official with knowledge of the talks, who spoke on condition of anonymity in order to discuss confidential matters. Traditionally, the official opposition leader has proposed the main budget amendment. Well, Skippy the Wonder Pigeon dropped the ball on this because he was so enamored with his own voice and speaking for 25 minutes and deriding the current government and the current budget, he forgot that the job was to also to propose an amendment. See, the thing about the official opposition, it's to oppose and propose. This piece of shit has not once ever proposed a single fucking thing, and he never will. And this time, he stepped in it. Because what immediately happened after he finished his 25-minute diatribe, the Bloc Québécois seized on the unexpected opening to swiftly present notice of their own motion to amend the budget, which now becomes the main proposed change to the document, as Conservatives scrambled to fix the oversight. This is this is from the Toronto Star. The BQ is the third party in the Commons and would not ordinarily be the lead party to frame the opposition's objections to a government budget. The Liberals said it left the Conservatives stuck with trying to change the BQ's wording in order to express their own budget objections. Bloc Québécois officials agreed with the Liberals. A BQ official told the Star it was a big Conservative procedural error and noted it is the first time the BQ gets to move the main budget amendment since the Quebec Separatist Party was last the official opposition in Parliament back in 1997. You see, the problem with Pierre Poilievre is he is so much of a narcissist that all he could do is spew hatred for 25 minutes and forget the main focus of his job. Propose. He's such an asshole. The story goes on, but I'm not going to read anymore. That's as much as I want to get into the weeds on that one for this evening, if you will. But holy liftin' mother of goodness. I just, like, the man is such a narcissist that he can't do his job correctly. It's, look, you can hate me if you want. I don't care. You can call me names. You can call me a liberal cuck. By the way, I'm not a liberal. I'm not. I don't belong to any party. I never have. I never will. And I will not ever publicly support any political party ever. But here's the thing. The Conservative Party of Canada is not progressive. They are not your daddy's or your granddaddy's conservatives. They're not. They're the Reform Party under a new name. I've been saying this for the last 5 years since we started this show. I will say this until they disappear forever. And we have an actual progressive Conservative Party. As our friend Senator Charles Adler said a number of years ago, he said, I didn't leave the party left me. He began voting Liberal because of the fact that he had no other alternative as far as he could see. Well, that's not entirely true, because he did say he had voted NDP I think in a provincial election because he saw an alternative choice there. But when it comes to federal politics, he's like, I want my vote to count. I'm going to vote for the Liberal Party. Not because I'm a liberal, but because I don't have a voice otherwise. The Progressive Conservative Party has been gone for years. It does not exist. Why do you think Brian Mulroney propped up our former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau? Because they have a lot in common. They want to see this country do well. They want to see our citizens, Canada's citizens, the citizens of this nation do well. Look, why somebody gets into politics, in some cases, I think has to do with the fact that they want to make a difference. They want to get out there and scream from the top of the hill and say, look, things are wrong, let's fix it, we want to make it better. And I think there are a great number of people who enter into politics for that purpose. And especially at the municipal level, because that is the area of politics that affects your daily life more than anything else. I can go on for that one for a while, but I'm not going to at this particular juncture, because I'm a little tired and Lola needs to go out soon. She's not excited about the rain, so I'll put her raincoat on and we'll do the best we can. But we have federal politicians in this country who go on and on and on about provincial matters, and it's 9 times out of 10 conservatives that do it. Why aren't you funding health care? Well, the federal government is funding provincial health care, but the provinces aren't funding health care. You look at the province of Alberta and the province of Ontario, where billions of dollars have gone missing from healthcare. Billions in federal transfers have gone missing. I don't want to get into the weeds on Doug Ford and Daniel Smith right now, because I don't have the time. And I could be here for several hours if I did that. I don't want to be here for that long. 45 minutes to an hour is kind of what I'm looking at this evening. I don't want to go away angry. It's a Friday evening. I want to go into the weekend in a happy mood, which is why I got the Pierre Poilievre stuff out of the way as quickly as possible. But we have to look at the fact that you have federal government members of parliament, federal parliament, demanding the federal government do something about things that are completely, 100% entirely under provincial jurisdiction. And that, when that occurs, and it occurs far too often, is one of the reasons why we support our friend Fed when it came to the petition to pass a law that makes it punishable when parliamentarians lie. You will be censured. We know, look, sometimes you're going to go off with the facts you have at hand and you may get them incorrect. And there will be a leeway there. But when you do things that are blatantly, patently both uninformed and untrue. And I'll use an example of Pierre Poilievre saying there was a terrorist attack at the Niagara Falls border when there was nothing to support that statement. Nothing. Nobody, not even the U.S., had said it was a terrorist attack. That's telling. We didn't know what was happening, but he stood up in the House of Commons and said, "What are you going to do about this terrorist attack?" When it was not a terrorist attack. It was an unfortunate mechanical failure and an accident that took the lives of 2 American citizens. Or were they Canadian? Somebody correct me on that one. I don't recall off the top of my head. That's a little while ago. That was a prime minister ago. So in that instance, that rule or law or that we're hoping to become a law would have gone on to push Pierre Poilievre to actually censure himself and come back and say, "I completely got it wrong. I am terribly sorry. I need to apologize." Except I think in that case, he should be punished more because he knowingly lied. He knowingly lied because there was nothing to back up his statement. It's different when you can get something incorrect and say, "You know what, mea culpa, I'm sorry, I made a mistake." He purposely said something that he knew would fire up his base when there was nothing to support it. And that is the crux of it. We need to be able to hold the members of Parliament personally responsible when they lie to us. We can't have it so that they can just go in and say whatever they want and get away with it and claim parliamentary privilege. It's not parliamentary privilege when you lie blatantly about something. When you make something up, when you are writing a fantasy fiction novel, not cool. I want to share a clip with you now. It's unfortunately the image is shrunk down for some reason, but this is from the Twitter, and bear with me for a minute while I cue it up. This is from I guess it was a TikTok onto Twitter. I can't seem to find the original clip. It's about 2 minutes and 29 seconds, and it talks about how the Conservative whip allegedly in quotation marks, threatened Jean Leroux, who had just resigned his position. I'm going to share this with you really quick, and I'll be back in, I don't know, a couple of minutes on the other side of this.
Well, since the rumors first started of potential floor crossers, he has been working the phones, but I would say he does not have good and warm relations. He has not fostered collegial relations with his caucus in the same way that some people speak about Brian Mulroney, for example. Yeah. And so when there is a crisis, there's no goodwill built in there. And that has been a problem that we have seen all week. I don't believe that Christian Tremont wanted to cross the floor in the way that happened on Tuesday. I think he was forced to do so because of a Politico story that emerged earlier than he had expected. And from what I understand from several sources, Mr. Jean Leroux was planning on crossing to the Liberals. And multiple sources, conservative sources, tell me that he was threatened by his own whip. And that, I haven't spoken to him directly, so I won't go into the details, but I believe that instead of crossing the floor, he just basically said, fine, if this is the way you want to deal with it, then I will resign my seat. Some conservatives believe that the Liberals will win that by-election whenever it is called. It certainly is a good week for Mark Carney. To Chantal's point, what does it mean? I mean, Mr. D'Entremont left and said, basically, it's because of Pierre Poilievre's toxic leadership, and I don't see the values that I believe in reflected in at least the leadership's tone in the party. Mr. Jean Leroux, aside from saying that he wants to spend more time with his family, doesn't really tell us why he is leaving. So we don't know yet why he is leaving. I'm sure at some point he will tell us. But what does it mean for Pierre Poilievre's leadership review in January? What does it mean for the rest of the caucus if the stories emerging about the pressure that you're under by the leadership team, how does that build and foster a team approach? You now have very aggressive tone. You're leading through fear. And it's hard to lead through fear when you're, frankly, the leader of the official opposition, you know? Like, there aren't that many carrots, but how do you sustain this? And there's a lot of unhappy people, and I've got to say, dispirited-looking faces in that caucus.
Sorry for the feedback. My apologies. I didn't mean to do that. I had the speaker turned up a little bit loud there while I was listening. So what'd you think about that? I thought that was kind of fascinating. We don't know. I mean, we're running on a little bit of speculation and hearsay and word of mouth. But, was he threatened by the party whip? It's a good question. I'm wondering if he was threatened by Jenny Byrne. I mean, we know that she's got quite the reputation. Well earned, well deserved. It's not speculation. She's got a reputation. It's well known in the city of Ottawa amongst the parliamentarians. People know what she's done. People know how she behaves and how she acts. She's kind of an angry person. I often wonder, and I mean this with all sincerity, I often wonder if she has a mental health issue. And if you think for 1 second I called her crazy, back it up, okay? I have mental health issues, anxiety and depression. Doesn't make me crazy. Although anyway. I wonder if she has issues of that nature. I sincerely do. Because for somebody to be so young and have so much and be so angry all the time, as we're led to believe, now maybe the information we have is completely wrong. Maybe she's a really pleasant, happy person, but I've never heard that. So if she is somebody who needs mental health support, I truly hope she gets it. And I mean that with all sincerity. I know what it's like to suffer from mental health issues. And I hate to see anybody else suffer from them. Anybody. And I mean that sincerely. Anybody. I think oftentimes, mental health issues can push somebody beyond their normal manner of behavior, for want of a better term. I think if you're happy, if you like your life, if you're happy, it's probably pretty rare that you're hate-filled. Happy, loving people tend not to have hatred in their heart. I mean, certainly I have problems and issues when it comes to certain people who preach hatred. I hate hatred. I hate inequality. I hate racism. I hate bigotry. I hate misogyny. But it doesn't swallow me up whole. It's not my identity. I'm able to live a very fulfilling life. I pay attention to those things and I comment on them, as you well know, but it's not who I am. So I question, if Jenny Byrne is suffering from a mental health issue, which is oftentimes anger leads to depression and depression leads to anger. They work hand in hand with one another. I'm not saying that's the case, but, I wonder if it's part of it. And that's all. Because anybody who's suffering from depression, I can empathize with. I can empathize with the anger that comes along with it. And in her case, I hope that's if that happens to be the situation, I hope she gets the help she would need. If that's the case. And then there's other people who are just complete assholes. It's, you can give somebody all the opportunity in the world to better themselves, to seek help, and they will absolutely refuse to do it. Is it because of the illness, or is it because of the narcissism, which, by the way, is a fucking illness? So Some people are beyond repair because we don't know how to fix them yet. And I say we as in I mean the medical community, not me, myself personally. I'm still trying to fix myself with the help of the medical community. But if others can point their friends in a direction that they need to be pointed in, please do so. For the good of the nation, do so. We need to help each other here. Now, if we look south of the 49th parallel, south of the border of the United States of America, I see that Trump fell asleep in a meeting today. And yesterday, as somebody passed out and people ran to the person's aid in the Oval Office, he just stood there thinking like, I'm a good boy. I didn't poop my pants today. I solved 9 wars, 10, and I brought in $100 trillion. That's what yeah, 100 trillion. 100 bazillion trillion. Somebody change my diaper? I mean, if you've seen the photo, and I'm going to see if I can dig it up for you here because holy Hannah. It's quite something. Somebody has just complete disdain for another human being who is going. Oh, there it is. I got the photo right here. I'm going to show you this to you right now because it's like he's so self-involved, such an absolute self-centered narcissist. As people are running to his aid, he has this look on his face of like, oh, hurry up and get that person out of here. They're interrupting my moment in the sun. Like, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Like, really? Like, seriously? I'm trying to blow it up. I can't blow it up, unfortunately. But look at this face. He's given a side eye. Somebody's just passed out. People are running over to help him out. He hasn't budged an inch with his tie, like, I don't know, several inches too long. By the way, proper etiquette calls for the tie to just cover your belt buckle or be centered on it. Either way, that's way too long, which is why they always make fun of him in political cartoons with his tie too long. And Jon Stewart walked out with his tie too long. Anyway, that's just proper etiquette. The tie should be, anyway. But another example of a man who just doesn't care about anybody but himself. Literally, hurry up and get that person out of here. I've got things to do. Tell everybody how great I am. Hey, here's another photo, like just a few seconds later. This is the one where he's looking like, this is I've solved 9 wars this morning. I solved 9 wars. I should get the Nobel Prize, and I've brought in $100 trillion bazillion. Who's changing my diaper? Literally, people are scrambling to help somebody, and he hasn't moved an inch. He's moved a few millimeters because he's actually turned his head a little bit and dropped his eyebrow. But goodness gracious, what a okay, I'm going to do the A-B comparison here. There's picture A, right? Picture A, okay. And let's see, we'll go to picture B, just this one right here. Here's picture B, and people have moved. People have jumped up to help this person. But Trump, he's moved maybe 3 millimeters. And all he's thinking is, are they out of the shot? Get them out of the shot. You're going to ruin my moment here in the sun. Yes, exactly, Linda. Why isn't anyone paying attention to me? You might be right about that, Dale. Dale's comment, I'm going to put it on the screen. He says, his ankles are too swollen to move. You're probably right about that. So yeah, that's the state of things. We have Pierre Poilievre, a man who completely dropped the ball on what he was supposed to do so he could put himself in the spotlight and try and get clips to throw on Twitter and drum up his base, I guess. And then, of course, you've got Trump, who's disgusted at the fact that a human being is having a health issue in his office. I just, this is the state of the world right now, friends. So we need to remember to keep each other up. We have to prop each other up. We have to support one another. Remember, this is a community, and in this community, we want to check in on each other and make sure everybody's doing okay. I recognize that there are powers beyond our control that are trying to make things more difficult for the marginalized and disenfranchised members of our society, and it is our job to make sure that doesn't happen. I know it's not easy. I know there are limits to what we can do, and I know that it takes a long time to make things change. But if we start small, we start with this community and we work together as a group to try and make the world a better place by propping each other up, by propping up our neighbors, our friends, people who aren't even part of this community. We can bring them in. Let's bring people into the community so we can help them out and let them know you have people here that will support you. Now, support can vary in a million different ways. We might be able to get behind you to make some political change, whether it be to help create, I won't say create's the wrong word, but help get the UBI instituted, because it's something that is slowly moving forward. It's not moving fast enough, because starting in January 2026, you can actually, for $20,000, buy a robot that will come into your house and do chores. Or you can rent it for $500 a month. Starting in 2026, it's November 7th, 2025. Now, in 2026, they haven't given a drop-dead date. Is it January, February? I don't know. But in the next 3 to 6 months, you can get a robot in your house to do chores. We just saw 14,000 people lose their white-collar jobs with Amazon. And one of the big banks, and I keep thinking it's Goldman Sachs, but I can't remember which one, laid off another 10,000. And Amazon's ultimate goal is to lay off every white-collar worker and have AI take its place, and eventually roboticize all of their fulfillment centers or warehouses, whatever you want to call them. Because you don't have to pay those things. You don't have to pay an AI 8 hours for work, or give them health benefits, or, observe the law when it comes to labor. So, yeah, we got to prop each other up and take care of one another. Let's get that UBI. Let's make sure that when people lose their jobs, there's a social safety net to take care of them, because a lot of jobs simply won't exist in the next 2 to 3 years. They won't exist for human beings. They'll exist for robots and AI, but not for human beings. And I've been talking about this for 10 years, and people go, "You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about." And I'm like, it's happening right now. And I know friends who work in IT who have said, I'm out of a job in 6 months, and I will be replaced by an AI. Now, what's going to happen oftentimes is they'll go, "Oh, we were a little premature on that. Can you come back?" "Yeah, no problem. Just back the Brinks truck up to my front door, dump all the money into my house, and I'll give you 6 months. And then you're on your own, because you brought this on yourself." And that's what we, as a society, have to do, is let the people who think they're in power know that we have the power, they don't. We, the people, have the power. And I know that sounded American, but it's a legitimate statement. Every time things get out of control in the country of France, the people let the politicians know who's in charge, who owns everything, who operates everything. It's us. You want billionaires to drop to their knees? Just let's convince everybody to take a complete day off from work. I mean, everybody. Not going to work today, not spending any money. It's going to be a nice day in the summertime. We're going to sit at the beach. That's it. But we're not going to work. Now, I realize we can't get 100% of everybody to do that. Doctors, police, firefighters, they still got to be ready to work. We can't have people dropping dead of heart attacks and nobody there to help them. But we could send a message. If everybody got together and said, okay, I'm not essential in that the world will stop turning if me and everybody who does what I do stops today. So we're going to take the day off. Then we could send a message to these oligarchs that we're in control, not them. Of course, I don't expect that to happen. I mean, I don't have rose-colored glasses. I don't have pie-in-the-sky dreams. I have a firm grip on reality, and I know that we collectively could make that happen, but it's not going to, because too many people have too many concerns on a single daily basis. I get up every day at 4 a.m., take a shower, shave. Well, not this part, but this part. And take my dog out for a nice 30-minute walk, at least. Then grab a sandwich and a coffee, and out the door I go to get to work. Then get home and kind of do the same thing all over again. I'm just happy she's kind enough to let me do this tonight, because she recognizes patterns very simply, or very easily, I should say. So she understands that if I do this every Friday, she gives me at least an hour before she'll come over in about 10 minutes and start to, hey, Dad, come on, we got to go. So I'm grateful for that. But I recognize that because our lives have so many complexities and so many responsibilities on a daily basis, that sometimes it's difficult to just unplug from everything. And at the same token, it's difficult to keep plugged in enough to know what's really happening. We have this show so we can try and reach as many people as possible and inform as many people as possible. We can't get to everybody. I recognize that. I understand that. We're not living in a fantasy world. But as the channel grows and as we reach more people, we can get the message out that, look, we have the power to make things change through proper channels. We're not going to occupy a city or an ostrich farm. All right, I am going to wrap it up for this evening. Thanks for coming out, folks. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And of course, we need to thank our title sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, PsychicTarot.ca, and the Peppermaster. The fine folks have been with us from day one. We are looking for more sponsors, of course, and more subscribers and more viewers. That's how we grow the channel. The more we grow the channel, the more we can invest into it so that we can get people on the payroll to help us do some research. We've been getting a great deal of help from Uncover the News, and I'm so grateful for all the efforts that she puts into this for us, because I mean, honestly, this is something she volunteers and does for us. We're just not in a position to pay anybody right now because we don't have any really revenue. We use whatever we got to keep the channel running and try and prop things up, as you well know. So thank you for coming in. Thank you for hanging out. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And it's nice to spend some time with you on Fridays. I'm going to try and, I'll be available Tuesday morning, so we can do a live Remembrance Day show. I won't be working Tuesday. I will be heading to the Cenotaph immediately after we end the show. So I will be here Tuesday, and I could have booked Monday off, but I just, I've surpassed my 90-day, what's the word? I'm forgetting the word. The first 90 days of a new job is when you're under probation. I wanted to say prohibition, and I knew that was wrong. I've surpassed my probation period, so I could technically book a day off, but I'm not there yet. Just taking time off for the sake of taking time off, even though I'm entitled to it, and I have it. I guess that's an old Gen X, old school way of thinking. I have to get my head around the idea that I need to take time off every now and then. I am working on it. I am. Anyway, folks, thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you, as I just mentioned a moment ago. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate the fact that you're able to join me on a Friday and that I'm able to be here on a Friday. So if you want to help us out, you can click on that coffee link right there, and you can donate money directly. Or if you like, you can also click on the True North Eager Beaver Media down at the bottom here. That'll take you to our pod page, which I am well behind on. I'm well aware of the fact that I need to get the audio up and connected, but the video is still there. Preferably, though, you watch us on YouTube. For those, not everybody's capable of doing that, so that's why we have our pod page, and that's why we're available on Spotify as well. But we really would encourage you to join the YouTube channel and share it amongst your friends, bringing more people into this community. Altogether, we can help each other out. All right, folks. Thank you. I really do appreciate you. And I will see you soon. Take care.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.